Episode 512. Upon learning that Lord Grimm and the others had chased them all the way to Sin City, Misty Rain Locked Tower was first filled with grief and indignation. Then, he quickly conceived a plan. As the leader of a club guild, he certainly wasn't limited to just the skill of weeping uncontrollably. Lord Grimm's appearance, of course, hadn't gone unnoticed by just Misty Rain. The other guilds had seen it too, and they were all discussing their countermeasures. This was especially true for the three guilds, Voidbreaker, Royal Style, and Herb Hall, who had just been dealt a blow after the Thousand Wave Lake dungeon. While the extent of their losses varied, their bitter resentment was nearly identical. Right at that moment, Misty Rain Locked Tower contacted each of them in turn and laid out his plan. Hearing this, the guild leaders all thought, this is a real opportunity. If they played this right, they could even use it as a pretext to declare war on the Happy Guild, leveraging their superior overall strength. So the major guilds began mobilizing their forces, calling in all their most loyal members who were at the Sin City level. Even if they couldn't use this as a pretext for all-out war, they were determined to use their numerical advantage to wipe out Lord Grimm and his crew right here. But there was a catch to wiping them out. They had to make the first move. The club guilds had their own troubles. It was like the famous sects in martial arts novels. They needed a proper reason to act. They couldn't just do whatever they wanted like bandits. Just moments ago, they were straining every nerve to escape Lord Grimm's pursuit. Now, in a different place, they were all desperately hoping he would come for them. But Lord Grimm seemed to have no interest at all in these low-level grunts under level 40. Knowing their target wasn't interested in that, the guild leaders then gathered characters from the top 100 of the level rankings, all above level 40, to draw aggro. And then, they saw Lord Grimm and his party of 5 enter the dungeon of Sin City. The guild leaders' hearts, which had been so full of anticipation, instantly sank halfway into their chests.
Didn't you see it?
Someone speculated.
No way, you can't see that? It's so obvious.
The plan was executed perfectly this time. All the guild leaders logged in on their main IDs to watch the show in person. At the dungeon entrance, their top-ranked characters were so prominent and ostentatious. How could anyone miss them?
Hold on.
Alright, hold on. Let's set up and wait for them to come out of the dungeon.
And so, the scene unfolded. A whole cast of characters stood there, dumbstruck, waiting for Lord Grimm and his party to emerge from the dungeon. They were all there to respectfully request that Lord Grimm deign to attack them, just once, so they could launch a counterattack. Their persistence had finally paid off. Lord Grimm and his party emerged from the dungeon. The guild members waiting at the entrance immediately tensed, some prepared to attack, while others positioned themselves perfectly, ready to be struck by Lord Grimm's first move. Lord Grimm didn't even glance their way before heading straight back into the dungeon. The president of Herb Garden, South Star, had long been suspicious. Was Lord Grimm genuinely unaware of their presence, or was he deliberately ignoring them? This time he was finally certain. He'd reached the conclusion that he'd been played.
For the last half hour, not only have our elites not been leveling, but we've also pulled most of our second-string players over here to stand guard.
Tian Nanxing said.
This guy is just too cunning.
Misty Rain said.
He knows all the tricks in the book. There's no fooling him. They were just using that as an excuse to waste our time.
It's frustrating, said Ma Ta Shifeng. Indeed, the unique constraints of a club guild were something ordinary players couldn't grasp, but how could someone like Ye Chu, a former pro player, not understand them? They knew full well that in a place like this, the major guilds couldn't openly attack Happy. If they were going to make a move, they'd have to send in some alt accounts. But as things have developed, most of the ready-made alt accounts in each guild's hands have already been dispersed into other guilds. The few that remain can handle the usual skirmishes with regular players, but against 2 all-star caliber pro players, and with a level disadvantage on top of that. It's not that the guilds don't want to deploy their alt accounts, it's that the ones they currently have on hand just aren't strong enough. Perhaps this terrifying opponent had already seen through it all. That's why Yi Chu could act with such impunity, advancing and retreating at will. With every step, whether he chose to fight or not, he inflicted losses upon the guilds. Meanwhile, he's just casually farming wild mobs in Thousand Wave Lake, running dungeons in Sin City. Sure, his leveling focus might be a bit split, but he's not exactly falling behind. The guild leaders didn't even bother with a final discussion. They just silently issued their own orders. The players at the dungeon entrance gradually dispersed. Those who had waited out of curiosity, expecting some kind of spectacle, were left utterly bewildered. Looking back on the whole thing, these fools stood at the entrance for so long, and they only seemed to get excited for the split-second Lord Grimm appeared. And now they've left. Did they wait all that time just to catch a glimpse of Lord Grimm? What kind of profound devotion is that? When Yishu and his team of 5 finished their second run of the Sin City dungeon and came out, they saw that the crowd of characters who had been watching them like hawks earlier had all vanished without a trace.
They're all gone.
Tang Ru's tone was unmistakably regretful. She was genuinely disappointed to have missed out on that fight.
What a shame.
Yishu's tone was surprisingly similar to Tang Ru's. Of course, he wasn't lamenting the missed fight. He was just disappointed they'd only wasted the other guy's time for a little while. Yishu would probably only have been satisfied if they'd stood there all night.
Still running the dungeon?
We've got one more run left, and everyone's here. Let's get it done. We should make the most of our time.
So the 5 of them ran the dungeon one more time, and by the time they emerged, the night was already quite late. Su Mucheng couldn't stay on all night, so she logged off first. That guy, Ma Hupao, had only come for Su Mucheng in the first place. He was full of energy playing alongside his idol, but the moment he saw Su Mucheng log off, his enthusiasm evaporated. After asking for permission, he logged off too.
The 3 of us, we don't really have anywhere else to go. Thousand Wave Lake it is.
Keep looking for trouble with them?
Leveling is the priority. Causing trouble is just a side gig.
Got it.
So, having fun must be a real blast, causing trouble everywhere.
Yishu asked Qiancheng again. Qiancheng was speechless. Was he really the kind of person who enjoyed causing trouble? Then, after a moment's thought, he had to admit it. Yeah, he was.